The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Hey, what up, YouTube fam? It's Dupree, aka Darth Hater here with some fresh brand new Star Wars news for you. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And also don't forget to check out my last video because it greatly helps out the channel. So let's get into it. Also, major spoiler warning, if you guys haven't already seen the last episode, go watch it. So we open with Kevin Kiner scoring the normal title sequences with the Furmore Dire track. The episode opens with the Bad Batch making their way to Mount Tantiss on foot in the jungle. Wrecker is still hurt from fighting off some monstrous creature from the last episode. Dr. Hemlock goes to speak with the now captured ex-Vice Admiral Rampart, who is in a cell. The two have some snooty villain contest. Hemlock waxes about his great works and how it's beyond the understanding of normal people. Rampart is flat out telling him that the Emperor will not like that his super secret base has been found. It ends with Hemlock calling Rampart dispensable. Across the hall, he sees Nala Se in her cell. Jumping to Emery and Echo, still disguised as a stormtrooper, she's getting nervous about him being discovered. Ever the cool-headed one, Echo continues his work, looking for records of the vault Omega's in. When Echo questions why she's helping, Emery admits that she was wrong about their work on Tantiss. She's going to help Echo get into the vault. Omega is with the Force-sensitive kids in the vault, ready to enact her plan. They're nervous about it, but what other choice do they have? While two of the kids distract the medical droid, Omega takes out the power with the tools she hid in a previous episode. They pull the droid into one of the rooms, but Dr. Skalder, who has become increasingly suspicious about Emery, Omega, and the kids in the previous episodes, notices the children are in the main area. She arrives looking for the other kids. Thankfully, Omega is a fast worker thanks to her training from Tech and Echo. She's reprogrammed the droid, which sticks Skalder with a sedative and knocks her out instantly, setting the droid to guard the door. Omega pries the panel off the wall in her room, and they begin to climb into the elevator shaft and escape the pipes below. Things are getting worse back with the rest of the batch, as Wrecker is really struggling with his injury. Inside the base, Emery leads Echo into the vault, giving her all the intel about how the Empire took the kids in the first place. But it's too bad they just missed the kids, though. Omega is putting her plan into action. She led them to where the Zelo Beast is actually being held. As the other kids wade into the vents, she sneaks toward the holding cell of the beast. However, Barham, the one baby among the Force-sensitive kids, begins to cry. A stormtrooper heads to check it out. Just as the kids are found, Omega drains the Zelo Beast's watery cell, and the creature wakes up, which sets the Zelo Beast on a rampage. Emery, Echo arrive at the vault, finding it full of clone troopers and Dr. Hemlock. They discover that Omega and the kids are gone, the room shakes, and the clone commando Scorch tells the group about the escaped Zelo Beast. Hemlock tells Emery to find Omega, adding, "Consider your fate now tied to hers." Alone, Echo is proud of Omega because releasing the Zelo Beast is exactly what he would have done. Emery and Echo go to find Omega and the kids. The Zelo Beast begins to climb inside the high cell, looking for a way out. Outside, Crosshair's tremors are acting up. The closer he gets to Tantiss, the more pressing concern is Wrecker, who is not doing good. Crosshair takes charge, giving Hunter and Wrecker an order to find a communication ray to contact Rex. Crosshair will infiltrate the base himself. When they try to talk it out with him, he snaps back. Clone Force 99 died with Tech. He knows what's in that mountain. Omega needs you both. So I'm doing this alone. It's what I deserve. Hunter insistently tells him that Crosshair cannot go dying on them because Omega needs all their family. They know the risks, so they're all doing this together. Just then they hear a distant banging from the mountain as the Zelo Beast bursts out of the side of the base and flees into the jungle. Thanks to Omega's handiwork, they now have a way into the mountain. Hemlock wants to set a trap for Clone Force 99. He wants to send shuttles after Zelo Beast, purposely weakening the base's defenses, something that Scorch is not a fan of. When the batch tries to use the entry, they'll be where Hemlock wants them. He goes and activates his new CX clones, who are more droid than men at this point. All also have specialty weapons like shields, swords, and etc., making them extra lethal. As the Bad Batch makes its way into the base, slipping inside the side of the mountain where the Zelo Beast escape, they are met by CX clones and a squad of stormtroopers. Crosshair creates a distraction, shooting a thermal detonator and making and taking out a above bridge to crash on top of the squad. Imperial shuttle swoops in, firing on the batch. Hunter gets blown back and pinned under some wreckage. Wrecker hauls him out, but the CX clones are immediately on them. As one pins down Crosshair, the CX clone cuts off Crosshair's shooting hand. Very Star Wars. With Echo and Emery, they see the unconscious members of the batch get rolled into pass on carts now captured. Echo decides to prioritize finding the kids first before saving the others, but they find right away in a science hangar, taking out a few guards in the process. They get Emery and the other kids on the shuttle. Echo gives Emery coordinates, but he and Omega have to go save the rest of their brothers, including all the other clones. Emery gives Omega her data pad to access all the facilities. Echo and Omega head off to find the rest of the batch as Emery flies the kids to safety. Hemlock has taken the rest of the batch to this private cell where CX clones are made. He's torturing Hunter in the process. Hemlock brings up that he's put Crosshair through this before make fine operatives. Hemlock is interrupted by a transmission from Governor Tarkin, forcing the Doctor to leave his work. Omega and Echo are not idle, getting into the prison area to free the clone prisoners as well as Nala Se and Rampart. They arm the clones with blasters they pick up and carry along the way. They don't see the batch among the prisoners, so they must be in Hemlock's conditioning room. Rampart wants to leave them behind. Echo says clones don't leave their brothers behind, giving a rousing speech. Several clones volunteer to help him, and Omega save the rest of the batch. They split into their new squads between getting out their injured and going after the team for one more fight. Not before Nala Se pulls Omega to the side. The Kaminoan cannot let what she knows about cloning fall into Emperor's hands again. The only way Omega can be free is if Hemlock is gone and the science databanks are wiped. Nala Se says her goodbyes to Omega, as this is the scientist's own personal mission to do. Omega gives Nala Se the data pad from Emery. However, Rampart is clearly not on board with any of this, save all the clone stuff, so he chooses to go on his own way. He follows Nala Se, taking a blaster of his own from a fallen trooper. Meanwhile, Tarkin has heard all of the Zelo beasts getting out of Tantus. Emperor Palpatine is not happy with Hemlock. Tarkin is on his way to Mount Tantus to see the operation himself. Back with Omega and Echo, she slips into the vents again to get the elevator shafts that run through the mountain. Her goal is to get to where the rest of the batch is being held so she can relay what's happened to Echo. That way, they don't walk into the trap. Nala Se gets into the science lab, having picked up the detonator along the way. She finds Omega's file just as she prepares to delete it. Rampart appears with a blaster. However, she wants to know what the Emperor is up to on Mount Tantus. As he's looking, Nala Se secretly starts the thermal detonator behind her back. Omega gets to the Hemlock's vault in the vent and has her eyes on the rest of the batch. She asks Echo to give a big enough distraction so he can free the others. Echo and his team burst in there, immediately met by CX clones who start decimating Echo's men. Omega slips into the main area where one CX clone is guarding it. She is able to get one of Wrecker's arms guarded off before the CX clone grabs her. Hemlock arrives and releases the gas chamber below where Echo and his men are. Meanwhile, Rampart is copying all of Project Necromancer onto a datapad used a bargaining chip to get out of there. Nala Se says her work will never belong to him or the Emperor again. As Hemlock shoots her, she drops a thermal detonator and destroying all the data about Omega and Project Necromancer. Fun fact, this is why they're still working on Project Necromancer and the Mandalorian, because Nala Se's knowledge is now destroyed. Thanks to his Stormtrooper helmet, Echo is safe from the gas, though it's him versus the 3 CX clones as all of his men have passed out. They overwhelm Echo and she's also captured. Scorch runs in telling Hemlock the main lab has been destroyed and it's time for villain mode to go. Just then, Wrecker breaks out of his hole and starts a brawl in the room. Omega frees Hunter and Crosshair, but Hemlock slaps a pair of binders on her. Her hand is in one and the other hand is in another, along with Scorch. He drags her from the room. Wrecker tells Hunter to get the kid. He tackles the CX clone out of the upper room, crashing through the floor where Echo is. As they battle the remaining CX clones, Hunter and Crosshair take off after Omega, despite being horribly injured. The last of the CX clones are down, but so is Wrecker. His injuries are worse, and he's not doing good at all. Hemlock drags Omega to the launch area where the shuttle is waiting. The outside location pounds with heavy rain and lightning and thunder in the sky as Hemlock calls his private shuttle, which is immediately shot out of the air thanks to Crosshair. They take out Scorch, so it's Hunter and Crosshair versus Hemlock, holding Omega as a human shield. However, Omega knows Hemlock needs to her alive, he can't hurt her. She pulls out the hidden tool she's had this whole time. Hunter tells Crosshair to shoot the binders, but he no longer has a shooting hand. Hunter tells him to trust Omega. Crosshair lines up a shot and Omega stabs Hemlock in the leg. Crosshair shoots apart the binders, freeing Omega. Hunter then opens fire on Hemlock, killing the villain once and for all. Omega runs back to her brothers, hugging them both. Now it's time to get the others and get out of there. They meet Echo, Wrecker, and the other clone prisoners to flee Mount Tantus. Just in time because Tarkin has arrived with 3 Star Destroyers, 2 in which are 2 Avenger Star Destroyers, and then his brand new Imperial class Star Destroyer. They lower over Mount Tantus and begin their investigation. None of Hemlock's research was salvageable. Tarkin orders the destruction of the base and shifts the funding to Project Stardust. Project Stardust is the Death Star. On Pabu, the Force-sensitive children and clones are safe as Emery Echo watch over them. She says that none of the clones will ever have a normal childhood. Their lives have never been their own. Echo smiles and adds, until now, meaning they're all free to do what they want. He's going to Pantora to help the clones settle in other places. He says that Senator Rio Chuchi would love to know what Emery has to share. Emery agrees to meet with Chuchi. Omega sits with Hunter, and she knows that her and the Force-sensitive kids are finally safe with Hemlock gone. Rex and Hunter are working to find kids' families. They wave goodbye to Echo. They see him off. Wrecker and Crosshair, having recovered from their injuries, join them. Now the Bad Batch and other clones are helped free to do whatever they want and choose their own paths. Several years later, a figure walks out of the darkness into the caves of Pabu. A ship is waiting. It's Omega, clearly older now. Hunter and the Bad Batch are waiting for her in the darkness, along with Gonk. Hunter, now with gray hair and a beard. Omega wanted to join the rebellion as a pilot. She says that she has fought enough, it's her turn to fight. They hug and Omega tells him to look after the rest of the squad while she's gone. And of course Batra too. Along with Gonk, Tech's goggles on the dash. She powers up her ship and leaves to start her next adventure with Hunter's well-wishings behind her. And this is where the show comes to a close. Like I said in a previous video, I do believe we are going into some other spin-off series with these characters since none of them actually died. A lot of this was left open-ended. Like, we still have to see what happens to, Omega. We definitely still have to see what happens to Asajj Ventress as she came back in this series. And we also have to see what happens with Clone Force 99 as they're still on Pabu. But I think that in itself might just be their nice little retirement and send off into the sunset, as I'm pretty sure they're done fighting. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Did you love this episode? Did you think it was a nice send-off for Clone Force 99? I thought it was great. Like in the last video, I said I'd give this a 9 out of 10. Wasn't perfect, but they definitely stuck the landing with this. And I do look forward to see what other series they come up in the future. I'm gonna make a more in-depth video about what I think about the series as a whole, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget, if you guys like this video, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications for all my latest videos. That would be great. Anyway guys, take care. See you in the next one. May the Force be with you. Bye.